Hello children, welcome to CA session. Students, today we will continue the same chapter, Chapter 6, Cyberethics. Students, today we will discuss about open source philosophy and software licenses. There are many softwares which are freely available, and the code is also available to be modified. So here we will discuss about two types of softwares, free softwares and open source softwares. So let's start with open source software. Here in these softwares, the license do not impose much conditions. There are not much conditions on these softwares. Okay, so that is why users can freely use it. They can run the software for any use. Okay, they can study the software, like developers can study the software, as the source code is also available. It can be modified and then it can be redistributed. Okay, so number of copies can be redistributed. We can either distribute original copy of the software, means as it is we can distribute the software, or developers can modify the software and then it can be distributed. Okay, so here the thing is that it can be distributed without paying any royalties to the previous developer. Okay, the developers who made the open source software or simply who distributed the copy of the software, we do not have to pay anything to them. Now the terminology. Now we have confusion between two softwares. Okay, so what is free software then? If open source software is freely available, then what is meaning of free software? There are many softwares like the music software, games and many development softwares, etc. They are freely accessible and we can use it freely, we can change the software, we can improve the software, we can copy it and then we can distribute it without any payment. Means we do not have to pay for it for anything in free softwares. But open source softwares, they can be used freely, but it does not have to be free of charge. Okay, they are high level softwares. They are available freely so that people can study the softwares and can modify and reuse, but they have not to be free of charge. Okay, so company may receive some payment for further development or for any support related to the software. Here the source code is freely available to the customers. Now students, we will discuss about philosophy of open source software. So students, open source means the code is freely available. Okay, so anyone can modify and use it. So it can be distributed, but then there is some criteria. So these are the criteria on which the software will be distributed. So first is free redistributions. Means it can be redistributed as a whole or part. Means some part of the code can be distributed or the whole software can be distributed. Then source code is also freely distributed. So there is no license restriction on the source code distribution. There is no license restrictions on derived works also. Like if the code is modified and some software has been derived, then there will be no restrictions of the license on that also. So here the integrity of the author's source code, those who have developed the open source software, its integrity will be maintained, and any modification done with the software, its name can be changed and the version can also be changed and redistributed. Then after that, no discrimination against persons or group. If the software has been distributed, then there will be no discrimination against any person or a group. Then no discrimination fields of endeavor. Okay, it can be used by anyone in any field. There is no discrimination in any field. It can be used for business purpose, for general research work. Now, distribution of license. Even there is no restriction on the distribution of the license also. Okay, if the software is distributed, it can be distributed using the same license. The license must not be specific to a product. It will not be, the license will not be specific for any product. Okay, so there is no restriction for that also. This license will not restrict other softwares also. Then license must be technology neutral, means the license will not even restrict other technological devices. It will be technological neutral. Okay, it will work in all the technologies, all the devices. So here students, the software which is free as well as open to use, then that software is known as FOSS. That means free and open source software. Now students, we will learn some terms related to free and open source softwares. So first of all, there is OSS and FLOSS. So OSS full form is open source software. So you already know about open source softwares, that the source code is freely available, it can be modified, it can be redistributed, then it is totally free of cost, or we can simply means developer can simply ask for some payment that will be simply a nominal charge, and that the developer may charge in the name of development and support. Okay, if developers ask for the nominal charge, then it can be used for the development purpose and the support of software. Now, FLOSS. So FLOSS full form is free, libre and open source software, or it can also be called free, libre and open source software. So here, libre means it is a Spanish word and meaning is freedom. Libre is Portuguese word and it is also means freedom only. So here students, this is free as well as open source software. Now GNU. So it's related to Unix. Its full form is GNUs, not Unix. So it emphasizes on freedom only. So GNU was actually initiated by, means this project was actually initiated by Richard M. Stallman, and by keeping an objective to create the operating system. He actually wants to create the operating system, but then he not only created operating system, apart from that, nowadays GNU offers wide range of softwares. Now students, there are few more terms related to open source softwares. So that is FSF, Free Software Foundation. Okay, its full form is Free Software Foundation. So here the non-profit organizations have created these softwares, okay, and specifically for free software movement, so that free softwares are available and people can use it. So Richard Stallman actually founded this company FSF in 1985, and it was created to support the GNU project, because Richard Stallman founded this GNU project in addition to develop the operating system. So to support this, he founded FSF also in 1985, and it was also to support the GNU project and the license of the project. Now this company actually works legal and structural issues for the free software community. Okay, means those who are developing free softwares, on those softwares it's working on the issues like legal and structural issues. OSI full form is Open Source Initiative. So this is the organization to promote open source softwares. Various organizations have been created to support open source software movement, so that the softwares are freely available to users and at least they can use some softwares to do their work. So here Bruce Perens and Alex Raymond founded this OSI in February 1998. Okay, and here it actually specifies the criterias. It specifies all the criteria for open source and the terms and specifications of open source softwares. Now here, open source does not mean only access to the source code. You know very well, open source means simply the code is available. Okay, so it is not, OSI is not limited to this, that simply sharing the code. It is actually in the distribution term of open source software, there must be open source definition by OSI. Okay, open source definition must be included in the license of the open source software. Now freewares. Freewares, you already know, you are using lots of freeware softwares in your daily life. So here these softwares are free of cost, then allow copying also, distribution is also there. Okay, further it can be distributed, but modifications are not allowed because source code is not available. So it is distributed in binary form. Binary form means computer directly understands. So it's ready to run software. Okay. So there is no license fee at all for this software. It is freely available, but the code is not available. So here it is limited to certain types of users. Okay. So there is a limitation that it can be used for a private purpose or a non-commercial purpose, etc. So example, we can see the Microsoft Internet Explorer, many freewares are available over the internet. They can be downloaded and used freely. So now students, other terms related to open source softwares are W3C. So it's World Wide Web Consortium. You might have heard about like Tim Berners-Lee was working for this foundation. Okay, so here this is actually responsible for producing the standards for www. Okay, means all the softwares, the web pages, the documents can be shared over the internet. So for the proper use of internet, World Wide Web Consortium works. So it was created in October 1994 to lead www. Okay, means World Wide Web, by developing various protocols for the smooth functioning of World Wide Web. Now proprietary software. So proprietary, as the name suggests, private. Okay. So here it will be for an individual company or a person. So it is not open as well as freely available. Okay. So neither open nor freely available, and use, distribution, modification, everything is forbidden, and it requires special permission by the suppliers or the vendors. Okay. So here the code, as you know very well, it's private, it's proprietary, so source code is not available. Now shareware. Shareware, as the name suggests, it can be shared. The software can be redistributed, but after certain period of time, the fee should be paid. That means they will provide the trial version of the software for some time, like 1 month to 3 months, and it is not same as free and open source software. And here the source code is not available. It's only for share purpose. It is actually created so that people can use more and more such types of softwares, and as the people take interest in the software, they will pay the fee, and that is why the trial versions will be launched. So these softwares cannot be modified as the source code is not available. Now copylefted software. So copylefted software means they are free softwares, and in the distribution terms and conditions, they will ensure that all copies of all versions, means the softwares in this and its versions, have same distribution terms. Okay, distribution terms and conditions will be mentioned in the license, and this license will restrict others to add something in the software. Okay, so here the source code is available, but people will not be able to modify it because of the license. Okay, their terms and conditions are restricted, so they will not be able to modify, and this way it will shield the program and its version from making it proprietary. So students, I hope you understood these. We studied various open source, free and open source related terms today. So only this much for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.